You're definitely a Burton kid.
Yeah. Bird one kid.
Okay.
I'm cutting that one. That's terrible.
Don't cut that one. Leave it in. You can't just make yourself look great all the time and also look like ridiculous.
No, I cut your bad jokes. Don't worry. That's why the episodes are only half as long.
All right, welcome back, guys. This is the Room Upstairs podcast where we battle out movies, remakes, and originals. It's good to be back. It is sad that we are missing a member today. My name is Bird. I'm here with my hosts.
The tall being.
And the cool guy.
Mephisjoe.
Stealing my sunglasses. So most of the cool factor over there, for those of you who are watching the video, is mine.
They're real, like, skinny, like, lady glasses. So,
like
So
me.
you're not going to claim
I'm
them.
not going to hang on them, yeah.
And like I said, our fourth co-host is not feeling well today, but he is casting in his votes for our battles. So we do have his votes still.
Hey everybody, sorry I'm not on the episode this week. I am currently at home resting, recovering from pneumonia. I'm doing really good now. This is going to be, probably by the time this comes out, I'm going to be perfect. I really hope the episode still does good. I love you guys. Continue to watch movies.
Hit us up on our socials. Facebook, Instagram. We're on YouTube if you're listening. The Room Upstairs podcast on all of it. Like, subscribe, do all those things.
All the fun stuff.
Yeah. Most of all, interact with us. Let us know what you guys think of the movies that we battle, the composers that we're currently battling right now. The battles are getting tough. These are the quarterfinals, right?
Yes.
This is where, like, we could just kind of rattle off names for the composers because, like, they're just got all the movies.
Yeah.
So let us know what you guys think about these composers and these battles. Anything you guys want to talk about, let us know. We'll talk about it with you on our socials. So hit us up, the Room Upstairs podcast. And what you guys been watching?
I watched Logan.
Oh, finally.
Yeah.
Nice.
Took me like 4 sittings, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, that's... he was... we're going through Max because we started watching The Penguin.
Oh, nice.
And he noticed that Wonder Woman was on there, 84.
Yeah.
And he was like, you started watching Wonder Woman? Yeah, I started it twice. And it's like
a bad
20 minutes in, maybe.
Yeah, I asked you. I was like, oh, did you like start it from the beginning 2 times? Or no?
No.
That's rough.
Yeah, I probably watched like 10 minutes and I was like, oh, I'll come back to it.
Yeah, I also watched like the first 10, 15 of the Agatha show.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, this is not my, it's
interesting.
not my speed.
Mm-hmm.
Format, I was like, I just don't, just no.
Yeah.
Just no for me.
Anything else that you watched or played or anything?
Not playing. I'm reading. I finished the final solo Robert Jordan book, and was going to read something else because it's nice to have a little break in between. But it was so enjoyable that I just jumped to the next one. That one was the Crown of Swords. No, it was the Crown of Swords.
You just start reading them, don't even look at the
But
title.
this one's they all blur together. After a while.
Yeah.
But this one's the first one that Sanderson worked on to finish after Jordan died.
Mm.
So this is Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson doing the Wheel of Time series.
Okay.
So
Nice.
So far, really great because the prologue was only like 30 or 40 pages long, and I was like, "What? I finished the prologue in one sitting."
That's short for those books?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't even, if you're like a fan or have read them, then you'd understand. Like,
Yeah.
Jordan can get really long-winded in the prologue, and then you're like 100 pages in, and you're like, okay, now the book's starting.
What else? Anything else you watched?
Personally, I feel like I watched a movie, but I forget what it was now. Today, I started playing the Nintendo Switch remake of Epic Mickey for those like 5 people that know that game from the Wii.
Yeah, I used to be obsessed with that game.
Yeah.
That game legitimately taught me how to read. So
No, it didn't. No way. That's not the one. You had that leapfrog thing when you were little?
Yeah, that helped.
It helped.
And
but this was the foundation of it, I'm telling you.
No, well, the foundation was the Mr. Talk or whatever it was. Remember, it was like you put a You put a letter
Okay,
and you
yeah.
push the button and it says the letter, and then it'll say the word.
Yeah.
That was the foundation.
Yeah. I was playing
So-
Epic Mickey when I was like,
Yeah, there was a
3.
period there where I thought the only word he knew was ka-chow.
Yeah, that's for
That's
real.
because it was.
That's for real. Yeah.
You started something.
Yeah, Scavenger's Reign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I finished it
Oh, yeah.
a while ago.
It's a good show.
He finished it before I did.
I
Now
recommended it.
it's-
This
Yeah.
is definitely going to be up for the Sony Awards for something.
It's a wild
weird show.
It's a wild show.
Weird show.
And-
We just watched the first episode, right?
Oh, you're only
Yeah.
one
We watched
episode
2.
in? Oh,
Yeah.
dude. Eventually, you're going to hate some people, man.
Yeah, it was like 5 minutes in. I was like, huh? What did I just watch?
Yeah. Because I remember by the end of it, there's one dude, I was like, oh, he's still alive. I just want to kill that dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought the animation was going to be a whole lot different than it was. But it had like this kind of old school
Like
kind of
Aeon
80s.
Flux.
Yeah.
Yeah. MTV.
Yeah.
Late night.
Exactly. Because I've watched a few episodes of Blue Eyed Samurai, which is another anime show on Netflix, not recommended for children. The animation on that though is really good.
Yeah.
So I thought it was gonna be like that, but it wasn't. Which is still it fits with the show so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it wasn't what I was expecting.
Oh, yeah. Especially because of the direction some of the episodes take. Like, they're just so weird.
Right.
You have
And
to have an animation that's real
that's
flexible.
why I could see that working.
Yeah.
So
Flexible.
My favorite part of that show is the coloring. Like,
okay, yeah.
It's just a really beautiful looking show.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it decides to take a darker turn, the colors stay the same,
Uh-huh.
except for when they do the darker stuff. And it's like, oh, that is an entirely separate color palette that they save.
It
only
sets the
for-
mood.
Yeah, it's really interesting how they
Yeah.
use that.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I love the Spider-Verse movies. You know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because like there's that scene where Peter Parker, like Peter A. Parker, first time he meets Miles, right? Like
Oh yeah,
Miles,
with the sensors.
and Miles' background is like green
Yeah.
and purple, right?
Mhm.
And then it switches over to the Spider-Man the colors.
Oh man, we can get
I know
We've gotten
we can
into
do
that before.
Yeah,
but
we get in the weeds when we do that.
Yeah.
But like right now, I've been saying a whole lot because I saw it. And it was a funny reel, and I think it's hilarious,
Uh-huh.
and it's one of my favorite quotes from that movie. Spider-Man, why'd you create that guy?
Classic.
yeah.
Like it'll just get stuck in my head. I'll walk in, I'll just say it, and my wife will just start laughing. Like, why do you have that stuck in your head? I don't know.
Who are you
Some of those
talking to?
lines.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Who are you talking to? We got some musicians to battle, some composers to battle.
We are going to battle those, but first let's get into our Conan update real fast.
Yes.
Follow the Conan podcast. It has nothing to do with us.
No.
So
Not yet.
This is just straight up. If you're a Conan, not yet. If you're a Conan fan, you'll like this podcast. And I'm talking about the Sumerian, not like Conan O'Brien. The Conan.
I'm sure he has an official podcast.
Conan O'Brien.
Yeah.
Oh, he definitely does. But yeah, Conan the Barbarian podcast is what it's called on YouTube. But go follow it. A bunch of good information. But as far as the movie goes, nothing yet. So I recommend following the podcast.
Every week.
I'm sure I mentioned this before, but Robert Jordan actually cut his teeth doing Conan stories.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Composer battle.
Yes.
This is
Composer
the
battle.
quarterfinals.
Yep. Second round.
Second round. Okay. And we've got Danny Elfman versus Ludwig
Man.
Göransson. Hayden's not here, obviously, but he is voting and he is getting a full point.
Yes.
You are getting a half point this round.
Because it's only fair. I haven't gotten
So
it yet.
full point, half point, and half point Hayden actually has a full point.
Wow.
So
We call
that's
him
how
Whole
we're going to
Point
do
Hayden.
it. Let's go ahead and read some of the credits,
Mm-hmm.
and then you guys can list off some of your favorites after that. So, Ludwig Göransson. He is 75 projects into his career, and that includes Mando, which... Mando. He did the Creed movies. He did Boba Fett, Black Panther, Oppenheimer, and he's basically the Coogler guy,
Yeah.
or Christopher Nolan. Now that
Now-
Hans Zimmer's not there, and he's going up against the Tim Burton guy. So the Batman movie, the '89 version, Edward Scissorhands, the Wednesday Show with Beetlejuice, and The Simpsons. And he's got 141 credits to his
Yeah.
name.
Man, I forgot he did The Simpsons.
So, any favorites?
This became a
Rethinking
lot
some
harder.
things.
Yeah.
He's got to rethink some things. Now.
Yeah.
I always forget he did The Simpsons.
Any other favorites from those guys that you want to mention, or you want to get into the voting and then mention it in there?
Out of those two, I did want to specifically mention for Elfman, the Spider-Man trilogy.
That's right.
Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
He created the Mission Impossible theme.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Did he? Are you serious? I feel like that was somebody else.
He did the Men in Black trilogy, and a personal favorite of mine is the live-action Alice in Wonderland.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I know is a weird one. I don't know if it's generally agreed if that's a good movie or a bad movie. I love it, which I think is funny because I recently found out that you grew up with the original one as something that you rewatched and rewatched.
Yeah.
And that's how I am with the live-action version.
That's funny.
He also did the Pee Wee movies.
Yeah, he did
Yeah.
do the Pee Wee movie.
Yeah.
I mean, so did
Meet the Robinson,
That
Tim Burton,
was
so-
that was his first outing was with Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
which is a heck of a first outing, man.
Okay, so Danny Elfman
The Elfman.
versus Ludwig.
Yeah.
Who wants to start the vote?
I
Or
want to
should
hear.
we have Hayden start?
I want to hear the arguments. Well, yeah, you got Hayden's notes. Let's see.
Yeah.
Hayden's,
So here's what Hayden has to say.
Verbatim.
Vertextum.
Yeah, that.
All right. He says, and I quote, "Even though I love Sleepy Hollow, I'm voting Ludwig Göransson.
What a weird choice.
Better vibe, and I would purposely put his stuff on."
I'm not saying it's a bad choice.
Crime.
It's just a weird way to lead out. Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow?
Yeah, man.
Look, he was talking about me having weird choices to start off with. You know,
Like Hayden,
I don't
was
know
Hayden
that he
even
has
born
room to
when
talk
Sleepy Hollow
anymore.
came out?
What?
Was he even born when
Oh,
Sleepy
yeah, I
Hollow?
think he
he
was.
was. He was real little then.
So that's 1 point for Ludwig. Who's gonna go next? You or me?
Yeah, I want to hear the arguments
Okay.
because I can swing either way right now.
Okay. Well.
Well, I'll go ahead.
Okay.
So this is a really interesting one for me.
Simpsons.
Yeah. I mean, The Simpsons is a big one. Yeah. Danny Elfman, despite a lot of the stuff he did being stuff that came out before I was born, or really watching movies or listening to stuff, I have a weirdness, a nostalgia for a weird amount of the stuff that he has done. So I've already mentioned the Alice in Wonderland theme. The Batman '89 theme. I think I've mentioned this when we've done Elfman before, but I didn't grow up watching that movie. But all of that music was used for the Lego Batman 2 video game, which I did play.
Yeah.
So that main theme is associated with that for me.
And it was
So
the
again,
best Batman
It
show
is.
animated as well. It wasn't used in that as well.
Yeah, the animated.
Probably,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was part of that too.
I mean, he just created that immediate Batman sound. You couldn't separate that from the character, and still can't really. It's
Yeah, I'll
used
say
in
that.
the Joss Whedon Justice League.
Which is
Yeah.
another interesting thing because, again, that was with Tim Burton, and they got together doing that movie, and they were like, "What do we do?" Because Batman doesn't have a theme aside from the
hokey
The-
70s.
Yeah.
the 70s
they had
show.
to create something
So
entirely
they're
new for that.
yeah, and they came up with this.
Which is still one of the best superhero themes.
I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
it's
I get-
so well known.
At least slight
top five
goosebumps
easy.
every time that music swells.
If you've ever gone to Six Flags Magic Mountain and go on the
Yeah.
Batman ride, it's playing through the speakers there while you're waiting
Just
in
thinking about
2-hour
it,
lines.
Oof,
it's such a good theme.
I mean, it's everywhere.
it is really good.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, then Mission Impossible.
And Mission Impossible,
That is the default spy music now. You can't undo that.
that is a fact. Anytime you're like, all right, you gotta be a spy. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Ludwig is I think he's going to be a modern equivalent of that to a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the Mandalorian, which is one of the most iconic Star Wars themes now. I think
Oh, yeah.
up there with Imperial March and Force theme at this point.
Sure.
Just immediate person off the street will hear it and know, okay, that's
And
Mandalorian.
in spite of how bad the Book of Boba Fett
That
was, that
song,
theme is still amazing.
Yeah.
the final rendition of it, which uses his name for some reason, it sounds dumb on paper, but
when
then
you
you
hear
hear
it-
it, it's like, okay, that was really cool.
Yeah, you're like, wait a minute, is that say Boba Fett?
Were they saying that the whole
If
time?
you guys never noticed, go back and check out that Boba Fett theme.
Yeah. Black Panther, also one of the best Marvel themes.
Yeah, another one with Killmonger. Like
Yeah.
you hear that, I mean, people know
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And we haven't battled him, I believe, since Oppenheimer came out.
Okay.
Or if we did, it was very soon after, so I might not have listened to the soundtrack yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's a class. I mean, he won an Oscar for that one, guys.
Yeah.
That what's it called? Can You Hear the Music?
Uh-huh.
Which is like, I think, his most listened to song now.
Really?
Just in general.
Wow.
Is incredible.
And,
like,
go ahead and finish.
it's genuinely like kind of awe-inspiring. The just basic idea of it speeds up, slows down, but the entire song does get faster. So even the slow down part is still faster than the beginning of the song at a certain point. It's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the context in the movie is, but it's really cool.
As a musical piece, it hits.
Yeah. And finally, I just want to say for Ludwig,
He clearly loves Michael B. Jordan.
yeah, that Creed training montage from the first movie
Yeah.
He's done a
Is-
bunch of Michael B. Jordan movies.
is yeah, that's true.
Well, because Coogler.
Yeah. But that montage music it's the hype music.
Yeah.
It never fails to hype me up on some level at least.
Right. It takes what Bill Conti did in the original Rocky movies,
Yeah.
but
He
it
does,
adds
like,
a modern
version of it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It fits the tone of the Creed movies in the same way Bill Conti fits the tone of the Rocky movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just gonna have to go as a modern kid who wants to see where Ludwig is going. I'm gonna go with Ludwig also. Not that it matters too much because
You get a half
I
point.
get the half point.
Yeah.
But I think he's got Wakanda Forever is an underrated soundtrack. I think
Uh-huh.
it is better than the first Black Panther soundtrack.
It was pretty good.
I'm not going to debate that one. It is. And I think that we should be listening to it more because it's really good and I love it a lot.
Okay. So that's 1.5 for Ludwig.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go next, I guess.
Yeah, I want to hear.
So at first I thought this was going to be another hard one because of all the things that we've said.
Mm-hmm.
And as I listened to their stuff again, for me, there was a clear one. A couple reasons why. This will give it away of who I'm voting for.
Give it away. Give it away.
Couple reasons. Longevity.
Mm-hmm.
And the dude can also sing.
Yeah.
So, Göransson, he's done production for Donald Glover.
Gambino,
Yeah,
right?
Childish Gambino, which has been great also.
You can hear that in a lot of his music. It sounds like a beat a lot of the
Oh
time.
yeah. Which is one of the reasons why, or one of the things that I'm actually not that big of a fan of when the music is more like a song rather than a musical piece for the movie. So like the Succession theme, right? Like that's a song.
Yeah. I can see that.
And it's a banging song.
But it's a
song.
Yeah.
So Ludwig has that, but that's what this modern audience kind of calls for, and the movies that he's doing, that's what it kind of calls for. Like, so a lot of the Wakanda stuff, I mean, it just
They got to hit you with something catchy.
right,
Because your attention span is so low.
yeah, and so like it sounds great. The themes of, again, Mando.
Yeah.
I mean, you're wearing the shirt. Like, if it's on, I will listen to it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to composing a movie, Danny has just been in this for so long.
Yeah.
Has so many classics.
I mean, The Simpsons.
The Simpsons also. He has a chance of beating other composers as well and keep moving forward. I don't know how far Ludwig can get off of the Mando, because like we said with Creed, he did a good job with those, but he borrowed
Yeah.
from the Rocky movies, which he had to do. I get it, but a lot of the stuff is borrowed from there.
Yeah.
So, whereas the Batman theme was completely Danny.
Not
the
just
Spider-Man
not
theme.
just completely original in the context of like, oh, he did that movie. Like, there weren't superhero themes like that other than Superman, but that's a very different tone.
Right, exactly. And because they didn't want it to sound like Superman.
Yeah,
this was a whole different thing.
Something different.
And that's why that theme is so... And it's not just that main part that... you listen to the rest of it. It's so good. This will be interesting if he does move on, because he does have the qualities of that you recognize. Mm-hmm. So you can hear his stuff and then oh yeah, that's Danny Elfman.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's Danny Elfman.
I really like that style.
Which could be a bad thing later on. Yeah. We'll see if he moves on.
I think he has a really good balance between it, though, of hearing it and going, that's Danny Elfman, but then it also just... Maybe it's just the movies that he chooses to score, but they always integrate really well.
Right. Yeah, and The Nightmare Before Christmas, that was the seal of the deal for me. Because one, the movie is great, so Tim Burton did a great job with that. But the music that Danny Elfman put over that was so good, and he did the singing on top. He was Jack Skellington's voice. And so that was the seal of the deal. Now that I'm dead, I could take off my head.
Yeah.
Right. He's a multi.
He was in a band once.
He's
what band? What's the name of that band?
Oingo Boingo?
Yeah.
Oingo Boingo is great.
So, he knows how to write songs.
Yeah.
So, anyway, my choice.
Yeah. So, this, I would say this is probably going to be one of the tougher ones in this part of the battles, because I could see either of these guys going and doing very well, right? Especially depending on who they match up against.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was I want to hear out what everybody has to say and kind of make my call. But I sit and I look at their lists, and I was trying really hard because I love you, Hayden. But Hayden was like, Bert always just picks the nostalgia pick, right? And so I was like, all right, I don't want to do that, right? I'm going to take nostalgia out of it.
Uh-huh.
And so I've got two movies that I want to point out here, okay? And I think that they really kind of give a good meter of why I'm making my decision. Okay. So the first one is the Batman, the Batman music, Batman theme, and then Nacho Libre, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Elfman, his career is real long, and so you do get to see all of this diversity in the kinds of movies he's doing, right? Because you've got Nightmare Before Christmas, you've got your Batman themes, you've got the Mission Impossible, these iconic different things, and they're so different. But if you were to remove those from those films, I think those films would hurt. They would suffer, and they not only elevate, but I think Bird was kind of hitting on. They match the feel of those things, right? He clearly is watching those things, seeing those things, and trying to produce something that really expresses those things, right? Because you watch Nacho Libre, and that music is hilarious. It matches the mood. You're like, it's a silly movie. It's got some music that feels really silly, and then he can jump from that to, boom, Nightmare Before Christmas,
something really
Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and he can go all over the map, and that's a flexibility that I think that I'm not saying that Göransson doesn't have, but we've not seen as much yet.
Yeah, we haven't really gotten the chance, I think.
Yeah, he's not been doing it as long. Yeah. But also, I mean, there's a reality that he is writing for a different audience as well, right? And I don't know how much longer, just because of the way that I think Hollywood and the movies are going to have to change to keep up with changing tastes and movie going habits and stuff like that. And just, how we consume movies. I just don't know how much longer, the Elfman style, big operatic, those things can, hopefully, I hope that, they just keep going forever. But I think that we're going to see more and more of the music style,
right?
Because that's what we have.
The audiences.
That's what we can ingest more easily and more quickly. And so my vote goes to Elfman. Mm-hmm. Which means I believe he wins 2 to 1.5.
2 to 1.5. Yeah.
That was close.
I honestly can't even be mad about this. This is one of the battles that it didn't matter who was going to win. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, you should be. You're the one that picked them all.
Well, yeah, but there are some, I'm still mad that Mark Mothersbaugh beat Michael Giacchino because that is a crime.
That was wild.
That was wild.
If Hayden were here, that would not have happened.
Oh man. Well, Danny Elfman's gonna move on.
So he is the first
Undetermined.
winner of our quarterfinals.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
So next will be, speaking of the devil, Mark Mothersbaugh.
Nice.
Back at it again
Who's he going against?
against James Newton Howard.
Ooh.
Which I think is a pretty good one because these are very different.
They are different, and those are the harder ones, though.
Yeah,
That's the hard ones.
those are the harder ones because
Like this, very different
yeah,
styles.
yeah. You have to, the amount of time that they've been working will play into the decision,
Yeah.
and
These two have been working around the same amount
They
of time.
have.
Which
Yeah.
is funny because they're also very different styles. Like I'd say maybe even more different than Danny Elfman and
Yeah, and
Göransson.
I think we just need to go ahead and push Mark Mothersbaugh forward since Elfman from Oingo Boingo, Mothersbaugh from Devo.
Then we
There
can
you
just
go.
battle the bands all together.
That's right. Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to be the next battle, guys. Mark Mothersbaugh versus James Newton Howard. Start casting your votes. Let us know. Find us on the socials and put your votes in. And if you disagree with our winner now of Danny Elfman moving
Let us
forward,
know.
let us know why. Give us your point of view on it. It won't change it, but at least we'll know.
Yeah.
The more that we get these composers out, I think is the better. That's the whole point of why we're doing this little tournament, is because we're trying to give the composers some props. They don't get the props that they deserve sometimes. It's always like, oh, did you see the director? Did you see this actor?
Yeah.
It's never the composer.
Never the composer.
So-
If they get mentioned, it's like offhand sentence. Oh yeah, and the music was good too.
Right. So we want to focus in a little more on that. And we'll do so in the upcoming battle with the Mummy right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, we got a couple things real quick.
Oh, okay.
We started the
Penguin.
Penguin. There's only one episode as of
Penguin.
recording.
Oh, there's only one out
Yeah.
also. So they all come out on Sundays? Is that what it is?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
It's HBO.
This ain't regular television. Come on, man.
Yeah, I know it.
I remember the days when they would just give us the whole
It's
show.
not my favorite way of doing
I liked it when they gave us the whole show right up front.
Yeah, let me watch it when I want to watch it.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
don't want to wait for you.
I see both sides to it.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, it's an hour and 7 minutes long? This debut, or 4 minutes long debut episode.
Dang.
Right off the bat, not recommended for children.
No.
It's violent. It's gory. It's got bad words.
Yeah.
That's
about it.
Yeah, that's about it. But it's got a lot of it.
Yeah.
So
it's intense.
Definitely don't recommend for kids.
It's like they took what the Batman was, and I'm pretty sure the reason it's PG-13 is because the studio needs it to be, because like it's Batman. We need as wide an audience for this as possible.
Yeah,
You
we
make
want
it
to
R-rated.
we want to feel him hitting people, but we don't want to see blood.
Exactly. Yeah. they need those kids to come in because they know, oh, Batman. I like Batman.
Yeah. Which is weird because you're still alienating that kid audience with this show.
Yeah. Well, this show feels like it was them wanting to be like, okay, this is what we kind of want to do.
A little bit.
As a television HBO show, it doesn't have to be geared toward kids.
Yeah.
They can do more of what they want to do.
Okay, so did we want this show?
No one wanted this show.
I haven't even watched the Batman yet, so
Oh yeah, you need to catch up. Well, so far anyway, you don't need to watch the Batman to understand what's happening in the show.
Yeah. It's really
the hard
just a
part is
crime
like
drama.
I like the actors in it, right?
Yeah.
I just,
a 3-hour
movie.
movie.
Yeah, and like I just talked about, like it took me like 4 sittings to watch Logan.
Yeah, this one will take you a good 6 to 8.
Yeah.
Because it's a long. The
We
Batman
spread
is
it
a
out over
long
3
movie.
weeks.
Yeah, but it is. I did like it too.
Yeah.
I really want to see that Batgirl movie or the Catwoman movie.
Catwoman
With
movie.
Halle Berry?
No, not that one. Is it Batgirl?
The one that got canceled.
Yeah, that
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Batgirl
Yeah, I want
or
to see Batwoman.
Batwoman.
Release the Batgirl cut.
Do it with the Flash,
Yeah.
like we said,
Oh, you just put it on like as a
as a double feature.
yeah, because I'm like, man, in my early days, look, especially when like the MCU stuff was coming out, I was like supported everything, right, man. I bought the X-Men movies, bought the Spider-Man movies, and then the Avengers like stuff was building, and I was like, yeah, we gotta support it, right? But you hit a point,
It's like,
right?
I don't have to support
like
this.
I don't have to, and I question the people who do just because it's a comic book thing, like that Flash movie. I mean, it was fun, but like I don't want it.
Yeah. I'm glad I didn't go watch that in the theater.
Yeah, for reals. Did I watch it in the theater?
I would have watched it.
No,
I would have
you
watched it in theaters. It was fun enough to go watch in theaters for me. It wasn't a great movie, but it was fun.
I think the way we consumed it was probably the best way.
Just at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't I there?
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah, I was there. That was we don't watch movies together a lot.
Which is odd. We live right next to each other.
I know.
Yeah, we should do that more.
Yeah.
Remember that time we projected one of my Joe choices on the side of a building and everybody hated it except Bird?
Yeah.
That
That was a good time.
It was a good movie, right?
It was, what, The Usual Suspects?
No, it wasn't usual. Was it usual?
I think
it
so.
was. Yeah, I think that's the title.
So while he's looking that up, The Penguin. Here's my thought on it. Just kind of a overall
Okay.
thought. He hasn't seen it yet. I'm not going to do spoilers if you guys haven't seen it yet. But this feels like a show that was brought on because they spent so much money on what's his name to be
Colin
the Penguin.
Farrell. Yeah.
Yeah, and all the money to put all that makeup on him, and they're like, you know what, we got to make this worth it. Let's do a show. So they built this show because it's the Penguin. Like, who? People know the Penguin from Batman.
Yeah. But
But-
no one's going to be like, oh, we should do a Penguin solo project.
Nobody's like, the Penguin's the best villain.
No.
It's the Joker. Maybe Poison Ivy might be
Bane,
mentioned.
probably.
Bane, Mr. Freeze.
I don't know. Especially after that second Batman movie, Penguin got a lot of love. The Batman Returns.
With Danny DeVito?
Yeah.
Hi.
Comic book wise, he got a lot of love. And so
Sure.
there is a fan base out there, I think.
Maybe. I don't know.
Penguin fans, where are you?
yeah. You let us know if you asked for this movie or if you're happy, or show if you're happy that we got it. It just feels like that's what happened.
Yeah.
It's like we got Colin, and people liked him as the Penguin.
Yeah.
Let's just do this show. Having said that, this first episode, which was basically a movie
Yeah.
at an hour and 4 minutes, it was entertaining enough for me to want to keep watching it.
Yeah. It wasn't, for me, it didn't like wow me.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, this is more of the feel that the Batman had, which that's one of my favorite parts of it. It has like a really cool atmosphere to it. I want to watch it sometimes just because I want to go be in that atmosphere.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in that Gotham. It's terrible, but I want to experience that, you know?
But
It's-
we got to see a daytime Gotham, not
I
just
know.
nighttime
It
Gotham.
was so weird. It didn't look right.
No.
Also, it's Philadelphia.
Yeah, well, it's not really, but it's pretty much the same part where they did the Rocky Mickey's Gym.
Yeah.
At least that's what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
But it wasn't filmed. It was filmed in New York, from what I could find out.
Yeah.
I found it.
Okay, what was it?
1998. No, 1989. I'm sorry. Disorganized Crime.
Disorganized crime.
Corbin Burnson. It had Al Bundy. Max Green. Ruben Blades. I love Ruben Blades.
Oh, yeah.
Lou Diamond
Yeah.
Phillips. Yeah, it just had a great cast of people. One of my favorites was William Russ, who you'll remember as the dad in Boy Meets World.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He was in it.
Yeah, I remember him.
Plays a sleazy dirtbag in it.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to watch that and then watch Boy Meets World.
Right. Yeah, it was a good movie, man. I remember everyone was like, "What the heck did we just watch?"
Yeah, everybody was like, so like, well, why would you? We're never letting you pick something again. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then the bird's like, I liked it.
Yeah, and that's why we have the
That's fandom for you.
Yeah,
Well-
legit. That's why like I'm here, right? Like,
yeah, that's why we have the movies that Joe recommends
Yeah.
segment.
Yeah. Would never watch
I think he would
Scavenger
like
Train.
it.
Oh, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think it should be one that we watch. We might do it again and just
I have it on
because
DVD.
Hayden
so
may not have watched it,
I doubt he's ever seen it.
so we might throw it in there.
Room
and-
upstairs movie night.
yeah. So all right. Beside the point again.
Yeah. So the Penguin, yeah, it didn't wow me, but yeah, it was entertaining enough. I'll keep watching it. I liked it.
Yeah.
I think Penguin is an interesting character, like what they're doing with him. It's kind of cool. Like I get a good feel of, he feels fleshed out.
He better.
And, yeah, I know. Right, and they got a lot of time to do it.
Yeah.
It was a little odd because when you think of any of the villains from pretty much any property, you always see them already established, right?
Yeah.
Or you see like when they're young, like in the show Gotham, it has Penguin in it, but he's not really Penguin yet. It's got the Riddler in it, which like he's not the Riddler yet either. So
This
like
is
they're-
like in the middle.
yeah.
He's established as the Penguin,
But he's got no power.
Yeah, I mean,
he's got some.
Yeah,
But he's working
slowly working his way through.
So it's a little weird to see that where it's you're used to like, oh, this is the man right here.
Yeah.
But he's not the man.
No.
And
It feels like you're being slotted right into the middle of his story,
Right.
which is really interesting. I like that.
and
I refuse to watch it unless he gets an umbrella with a machine gun in it.
I mean, I hope so.
yeah, I wouldn't be
dope.
surprised if I don't know if he'll have a machine gun.
I mean, they changed his name
but he's got the
to make it more realistic.
All right, so
we'll
he's not
see.
Oswald Cobblepot?
No, now he's just Oswald Cobb. I know. Originally, I saw Oz.
That really makes me
Cobb,
not want to watch it.
But it's still Oswald. I thought it was just Oz Cobb, which I thought was even worse.
like, because
But-
for me,
it's Oswald Cobb.
for me, the thing that makes the Penguin so fun is that he is a legit menace. Like
Yeah,
he is a
but
legit.
ridiculous at the same
But
time.
he looks ridiculous. His name is ridiculous. His real name is ridiculous. Like that's what makes him menacing.
We
Like,
have a little
well,
bit
that-
of that in this show. Like he does have a very profound waddle. Like shot one of him is him waddling. It's
Right.
really funny.
right.
And he does have a personality that's very like, I don't want to carry this body downstairs. I'm just gonna toss it instead and then grab it when I go back down.
that's funny.
Like
Yeah.
you get a good sense of like he's
as long as
not-
he's not gross like the DeVito Penguin. Like,
yeah.
with the black.
It was
coming out
so
of his
hard to
mouth.
watch. Yeah, I mean, he still great movie, love it. But man, with that black coming out, just
No, and he's got the purple car, right?
Yeah.
With the purple
Nice.
suit.
It's plum.
So, yeah. So there is some eccentricity to him.
that was one of my wedding colors, pistachio and plum.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
That's. I mean, I don't want to do any kind of spoiling on
Yeah,
it,
no,
but
but-
just kind of basic thought. It was interesting enough. I'm gonna keep watching it.
I'm not gonna be raving
can go
about it
either
to
way.
anyone just
It can
yet.
it can go either way at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the following episodes are not as long, except for I think the finale
That
was
makes
also a little over an hour.
How
Everything
many
else,
episodes?
I don't remember.
Do we know?
probably 8.
Yes.
That's how they do
It
now.
was
Man.
8 to 10, something like that. I don't remember, but they were all about 48 in the 48-minute.
It's
range.
tough because like I feel like a show like this, like you gotta compare it to something
8,
similar,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
right? And like, what's the thing that I can think of that's gonna be most similar is Daredevil, and Daredevil episode 1 was it, man.
Yeah.
No, because this is more of a crime drama, so it's more like a Sopranos probably than
Okay.
Daredevil.
Yeah.
So I think that would be more of the correlation.
It doesn't really feel like a comic book.
No,
Oh yeah, I was
at
never
all.
going to just
Yeah.
because of the main character and
and what they're going for with this specific iteration of the show and the movie and
yeah,
you
I'm
know,
here
Batman.
for it. I'll give it a shot eventually.
Yeah,
One
yeah,
day.
Yeah.
Probably 3 years.
Once we finish watching it and we come back,
When season 2
we'll see if
is
we
out,
talk you into it.
from now. Yeah.
then we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Also, I would like to make a statement about Maggie Smith. She's going to be missed. Miss McGonagall was there when I was younger, and I loved seeing her and everything. And it's going to be hard knowing she's not there. So, rest in peace, Maggie Smith.
All right. Well, moving on.
Yeah.
Moving on.
We got a trailer that we talked about coming out last week because they announced it, but it hadn't come out yet. Venom 3, The Last Dance. Did you watch the trailer?
I haven't seen the newest one.
Okay. You watched the
I saw
first
the
trailer? then?
Yeah, the first trailer.
So, do you mind if we spoil some
I'm
stuff? in
pretty
the
sure
trailer?
it's already a spoil for me. Someone was talking about Noel, and I was like,
And it's
"No,
just,
okay."
just a trailer, so it's not really a
Yeah,
spoiler.
it's not a spoiler unless
I mean,
you're
it-
one of those people.
Right.
So yeah, Noel's in this movie. If you don't know who Noel is, because you're not a comic book reader, like most people watching the Venom movies, he is the symbiote god, and he was born out of the darkness of
Gore the
universe.
God Butcher from the Last Thor movie. Like the sword that he uses is Noel's.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
interesting.
he has like a fraction of Noel's
It's
power.
it's one of
and
the
is going
interesting
around
things to me
killing
because like
gods.
I think the concept of Noel is really cool, right? But I loved Gore the God Butcher,
Yeah.
and I think that he was executed so much better, and is such a better antagonist than Noel is.
I mean, Noel is one of those like Sauron kind of evils.
Yeah,
like he's
yeah.
just supposed to be this big bad guy in the sky.
Yeah.
that's watching over everyone. He's gonna be a threat someday. So doing him
and
as
it's
a
weird because
villain
he's
here-
featured so heavily like recently, like because
Yeah.
they had this like the symbiotes like came to Earth and like we're trying to take everybody out,
Yeah, and then
and like Silver Surfer had an interaction with him like at the beginning of time or something. Like they just fit all this stuff together really quickly, which is cool. It really gives a lot of mythos to the character. But that's why I like Gore. Like I feel like they fleshed him out so much better that he's earned it, right?
Yeah.
He's earned his place as a
Big Thor
as a good villain, yeah. And I don't know that like you're saying too. Plus, like how many people actually know Noel, and it's hard in a movie like this because I feel like this is something that you should build to.
Yeah.
He's just gonna show up halfway through the movie, right? And you're gonna be like, okay, we only get to see him for like 30 minutes, maybe, right? And
I am gonna guess less than that.
yeah, and
the
that's
fact that there's only like 2 shots of him in the trailer.
Yeah.
I almost guarantee they're the only shots.
and that's gonna be really frustrating because you're like, if he's this big and menacing and supposed to be this big of a threat, like,
Let's do
why does it
more
only
of
take him 20 minutes to beat him?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
unless he shows up scene 1.
So I'm gonna go ahead and say I will be happy about that because we'll get to throw him into the next battle that we'll do
Yeah.
at some point. So we were talking about this earlier.
We have a few options for what our next tournament is gonna be.
Right. So we were thinking of doing the most underused characters, and you mentioned Gore. He's gonna be one of them for sure. And if this dude
I have some
is
thoughts
the
on
same
Gore.
way, then we'll throw him in there, and then we'll battle. We'll do a little tournament with those,
Yeah.
and that'll be fun.
That'd be cool.
So
So overall, with the big null-shaped hole out of the way, I am really excited for this movie, and I want to go watch it day 1.
I'm not that excited about this movie,
Listen,
and I'm gonna have to. He's gonna have to drag me day one.
Listen. All right.
Listen, can I just jump in? Like,
Go ahead. Yeah.
the first 2 movies really enjoyable, so I'm interested, right? Like, if they just keep having fun with it, then yeah, let's do it, right?
Yeah.
But if they're like, oh, now we're serious, and now I'm out.
So it does not look like that. It looks like the most bonkers, off the rails one out of all 3 of them.
I will say
I
that.
don't care if the movie is stupid. I don't even care if it's bad.
Yeah.
It looks like it's going to be ridiculous and fun, like an old 80s action movie. And that's what I care about with this.
Yeah,
The
and-
Venom movies were never good, but I have a place in my heart for all 3 of them now.
So the first Venom movie, I feel like, was a little too serious. Like, they took it a little too serious. The second one, they kind of got a little bit more crazy.
Yeah.
And after watching the third trailer for this third movie, I did say this one does look like it's going to be fun.
Yeah. At the very least, it's going to be a fun time.
But the reason that I'm not excited is because of the first 2 movies. I really didn't like them.
Yeah.
So I'm not that excited for this third one, but I'll watch it.
As far as like turn your brain off comic book movies go, I think they're kind of top of the top.
Yeah.
Like, they're not better than a majority of MCU movies,
But you
they're
don't
way
have to
better
worry
than,
about
like,
a ton of connectivity.
Yeah,
connective
they're way
tissue.
better than
Could-
like either Captain Marvel movie. I would rather watch a Venom movie first.
Sure. I can see that.
Honestly, definitely over Quantumania, maybe even Ant-Man and Wasp, even though that one's fun. Iron Man 2 for sure, maybe 3, even though I love 3. The first 2 Thor movies for sure. Like any of the lesser MCU movies, even kind of mid-tier ones, I would put Venom above
These are the
those.
first 2 Thor movies.
Yeah, I mean, some movies are just like that, right? Like, they're not good movies, but they're fun to watch.
Yeah.
And you could do that with, like, different franchises, right? The Harry Potter stuff, like, oh, that first one was the best movie, but I like to watch the third one.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, right? Like,
I don't think anybody's saying that, man.
well, the fourth one, whatever. So I think that's what you're getting at, is that these movies are they're not good, but they're fun.
Yeah.
And like I said that last year was a good year for movies. One reason was because we got Godzilla X Kong, which not a good movie, but
Yeah, so fun.
loved watching that movie.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah,
you
I'm
need
getting Godzilla.
You
Kong.
need that, and like
Yeah.
in your movies, like there are some
Deadpool,
movies
Wolverine.
they just need to be. Yeah, that's like a lot of the Joe picks are just fun movies.
Yeah.
right? Like I'm not
Doesn't
saying
all
I've never
have to be
I've never
absolute
said
cinema. Or
I've never
whatever,
said that they're great movies or that they should be on a list of like all-time greatest
It's
cinema.
not going in the Criterion collection.
No, but they're fun movies,
Yeah.
right? And if you miss them, then usually you're like, oh man, I would really like to have seen it the first time around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, then are we done with the Venom?
I mean, unless you have anything else,
That's it.
the trailer came out, and it's like the only movie left this year that I want to go see in a theater.
Mm.
I want to go watch Venom 3 really bad.
Well, it comes out around your birthday, doesn't it? No, wait.
No,
what am I saying?
It comes out in like a month.
Yeah.
His birthday was months ago, man.
Yeah.
Well, you want to move on to that last trailer?
Yeah.
All right. Thunderbolts with an asterisk.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of fun movies.
Yeah. This is my most anticipated Marvel movie of next year. And I'm aware Fantastic Four is coming out, and I'm aware Michael Giacchino is scoring it.
Yeah, the preview, the trailer did look really good.
Yeah. I love the concept, like to a point that I wish I came up with the concept. I love it so much.
I mean, the concept is Suicide Squad.
The concept,
Basically, yeah.
I think it's got an interesting difference from
Just one real quick question, because I saw it and was like, is that Bob, Agent of Hydra?
I thought it too.
Because he says his name is Bob.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's Sentry, but
that makes sense.
Yeah,
Cause
from
I
everything,
wish it was Bob.
Yeah, from everything I've seen, it's supposed to be Sentry.
okay, that makes a lot more sense.
He would be a great Thunderbolts edition, though. Just
Yeah,
throw
Bob,
him
Agent
on.
of Hydra. Yeah, because then you could easily be like, all right, now we can just pull Deadpool right in, right? Sentry makes a lot more sense. I always forget about Sentry because sometimes
that's the
he's
point of Sentry.
sometimes
isn't
he's
it?
there and sometimes he's not. Yeah. It looks good, though.
Thunderbolts trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I really like it. I like the idea of a bunch of depressed super soldiers all sent to die on the same mission and then going on a revenge quest.
Yeah.
While also trying to find purpose. I don't know. Something about this is just that I feel like this one's going to hit with me.
I hope that they don't give us too many more trailers because this trailer had enough to make me excited.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that Marvel and I think Disney as a whole do is they'll give you more and more trailers, and then you go watch the movie and you're like, there's nothing to surprise me. So there's that scene in the trailer where they're like all in the elevator. I feel like that's going to be an interesting scene because you're going to have to see them interact or not interact, and just their characters come through, which is always really great. I feel like in a movie when you get to see characters express themselves without actually talking or anything, right? Because then you can see that these characters define and they all have their different traits, different characters, whatever.
Yeah. But I feel like we might see that in the next trailer.
But yeah, the next trailer is going to have that scene extended, and we're going to be like, oh, okay, so that the one scene that was going to be cool or silly,
We've already seen it.
we've already seen it. Yeah, Thanks, Marvel, Disney.
Yeah. I feel like they've done a decent job recently.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Especially because they were just like Thunderbolts, right? Like
Yeah.
no lead up, no people were just like, what, Thunderbolts? What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about, Thunderbolts?
It's like 8 months away. Why are you releasing a trailer right now?
Yeah. Obviously the working theory is that the name's going to change to like New Avengers or to Dark Avengers or something like that.
My personal hope is that that's a running gag through the movie.
Yeah.
It's they start out as Thunderbolts and then they keep being like, okay, no, we're gonna change the name to this or whatever.
Or
now we're
that
the New Avengers,
like
now we're the
they
Revengers,
were all
whatever.
given like a mission. It's called like Operation Thunderbolt.
Yeah, so they're all like, oh, but that's not my mission's name. Mine is whatever. It is.
Yeah.
I'm still a little sad because I love the first appearance of the Thunderbolts in the comics.
Yeah.
Right, where it's the Avengers and the Fantastic Four and a whole bunch of other superheroes are like thought dead because Onslaught has blown up and killed everybody. And then the Thunderbolts show up and everybody's like, oh, there's a new superhero team, and they're like doing great and they're saving lives, and people are like really, really looking forward to supporting them and backing them. And then the end of the first issue, like Citizen V pulls his mask off and he's
Zemo.
Baron Zemo. Yeah, he's like, we're all, and it shows you like these are all bad guys that are disguised as good guys who are trying to win over the people before they
So
do whatever evil thing they're gonna do.
I feel like they can kind of play with that with this one because I don't think anyone except for John Walker is really a public figure.
Yeah.
So if they try to do like incorporate a little bit of that idea of like, okay, they're trying to present themselves as the Avengers or something, I think you can do some fun stuff with that.
Yeah, because then like another really cool element that like the original comic brought was like they did the superhero thing a couple issues, and then he's like, all right, now it's time to start weaving in our evil plan, and the other Thunderbolts are like,
But we like being.
but
superheroes.
we like being superheroes. Yeah, like people like us.
Yeah, a
Like,
bunch of them are formed by the end, didn't they? Like, are
Oh, yeah,
just straight
yeah.
up heroes.
they
now?
yeah they then and some of them still are. Yeah,
That's the interesting thing is that right now the team is filled with all anti-heroes and
Yeah.
basically bad guys
And Bucky.
and Bucky, which from the trailer it looked like Bucky was maybe going up against all of them,
That
or
could
at
be
least a
cool,
good
too.
bunch of them,
Yeah.
at least at first.
Yeah.
Obviously, we think
He's
they're all gonna
he's in the elevator, I think.
right.
So he's
they're all
gonna.
they're all gonna group up at some point, but that's what it seems like. Maybe they sent him to take care of them or something like that, because he seemed to be fighting all of them. But yeah,
He does basically his intro in Winter Soldier, where he like flips their car with the gun.
oh yeah,
oh.
So if they parallel that, I think that would be fun.
Right. Yeah, but even Bucky, like, he turned out to be a hero.
Yeah.
But he started off as an anti-hero.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I like that one clip where he's getting his arm out of the dishwasher.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
What a Bucky
I
thing.
just I know that is a very Bucky thing.
yeah.
Is that Bucky? I don't know. Something about the delivery of that line is really funny.
Uh-huh.
I really like Wyatt Russell the more that I see of him. Him and Kurt Russell both are hilarious.
I like that they.
Together, yeah.
I like that
Together,
they gave him a
yes,
beard.
and alone.
I like that they gave him a beard in this one, so that they don't
Yeah.
have that same.
Yeah.
Where he's the old man.
Yeah. And no up on this one.
Right. Yeah, well, he wasn't wearing the mask a whole lot in the trailer, was he?
With the
we gotta
beard.
see his
Yeah,
He did have the mask on?
Yeah, and
Okay.
in the scene where they're clearly all showing up where Bob's at or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's
Good old
right.
Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sentry will be fun, I think. They can do a lot with him too. I doubt they're gonna go full Superman
Void.
level. Yeah. Nah, I feel like they'll do Void. You don't bring Sentry in and then not do Void.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, the hard part is you don't have any. There's no like real heavy hitters
Yeah,
on this
you
Thunderbolts
can't really have
team.
anyone
Yeah,
to fight Void.
Yeah. So you think that they'll all die?
I'm just
They'll
saying.
die at the end.
That'll be. I
Se-
mean, it would
you
be
know,
funny.
Sentry on a regular basis goes toe to toe with like Hulk and Ares and like.
Yeah.
Actually, I think he ripped Ares in half.
Yeah.
Yeah, killed him.
He killed Carnage once.
So that would be
Threw
their
him in
heavy hitter.
space. Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, because we've already got a glimpse of Red Hulk. Like
yeah.
at some point, Red Hulk's got to shift into this team, right? Like,
I mean, yeah, it's the Thunderbolts, and we have a guy named
Thunderbolt Ross.
It's like,
I think that there's a lot of potential for this
yeah.
movie.
This is one that is going to have to be good for people to go watch it.
yeah,
Right.
Because Captain America 4, it's going to have a at least decent opening weekend because it's Captain America.
Right.
Fantastic Four, probably same thing.
Yeah.
No one seems to really care about these.
This one's going to be word of mouth.
Yeah.
It's got to get around that it's a good movie. But
I like that no one cares about the characters because I feel like that's the point.
it could be like a Guardians of the Galaxy thing where, like, who are these guys? And then it ends up being a great
if they handle it well, yeah.
Yeah.
I really hope they do.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it has the potential to do really well, to tell a really good story with all the characters that are in here. But it also has the potential to just jumble everything up because there's so
Yeah.
many characters. And, like,
But,
you're
like,
not giving enough to this one, not giving enough
The
to that
style
one.
of storytelling that all these characters have been involved with really does open it up and lend it to the possibility of having, like, you can do something really great,
Yeah.
right?
You just
But-
have to hit it right on the
yeah,
mark.
but I agree. Like, I agree with Bird. Like, because they could also jumble it, make a mess of it, and
Right.
just be like we don't know which direction we want to go.
Right.
And then at the end of the day, you're just like,
It's-
oh, here's another lackluster, slapped together Disney piece of crap Marvel movie.
Yeah, it's got to be clear. And, I mean, you've got the talent there with Florence Pugh, with David Harbour, with
Wyatt Russell.
Wyatt Russell.
Julia Louise Dreyfus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sebastian Stan.
right.
He's, like,
I mean, the
done
talent
actual movies.
is there.
Yeah.
And they can easily sell a dramatic scene to make you care for the characters. They could sell funny to make you laugh with them, right? So, like, everything's there.
Yeah.
It just has to be put together like the old Marvel days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they have to
it could be
actually-
a really good movie.
They have to actually give a crap about the storytelling and not just try to make this another piece of connective tissue for something else.
Right.
Yeah. Which this one's interesting because it kind of is the connective tissue that everything's been leading to a certain amount.
Yeah.
So if this one bombs, it's over for a lot of this.
I don't know what else we have, but I feel like talking about connective tissue would be a great lead-in to
I mean,
our main event.
I'm basically done.
All
Other
right.
than-
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so tail of the tape.
Tell the tape.
The Mummy. This is The Mummy 1999 versus The Mummy 2017. Tail of the tape. 1999 is a PG-13 movie, 2 hours 4 minutes, directed by Steven Sommers, and it stars Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz, and John Hannah as the 3 main protagonists, and Arnold Vosloo as the Mummy, and the music was done by the great Jerry Golson. So it's going up against The Mummy 2017, like I mentioned. Also PG-13, a little bit shorter running time at an hour 50 minutes. This was directed by Alex Kurtzman, and it stars Tom Cruise, Annabelle Wallis, and Jake Johnson as the 3 main. And The Mummy. Oh, I'm also going to mention Russell Crowe because he's in this.
Yeah.
And
First
We're
scene.
going to talk about that.
Yeah. And the Mummy is played by Sophia Boutella, and the music was done by Brian Tyler, who was also in the battle in the tournament. So there we go. That's the tail of the tape.
Yes, it is.
Comparison of the movies. Shall we give some overall thoughts? Or
No,
should we just go like...
let's jump in because I feel like they're going to bleed out
Okay.
in our categories.
I think... All right. Yeah, let's go ahead and go.
right.
I think it's going to become obvious.
Yeah. We don't have categories again. We need to stop watching movies and doing battles that aren't having categories.
Okay, so here's
because we keep watching ones where one is very obviously the winner.
Here's the thing, though.
That's how movies be, man.
Right, because our whole thing is we battle originals versus the remakes. For the most part, the remakes are always worse than the original.
Roadhouse.
Like, yeah,
Roadhouse
for the most
was
part.
really good.
For the most part, right? Did Roadhouse win that battle?
I'm
It
pretty
did.
sure it did.
Roadhouse won against Roadhouse.
It did?
Correct.
Okay. So that's an exception. And there was a couple other ones that we battled that the original if the remake didn't win, it was still a pretty good competition.
Yeah.
But that's just how it is, right? That's so some of them are going to be lopsided like this.
Yeah.
Some of them will be a little tighter, but this one is lopsided. And it's just the nature of the remake thing. I can't wait to do The Crow because I feel like that's going to be like that too.
Yeah.
But that'll be fun. So, all right. That's my spill on the remakes and reboots and stuff.
So, just the original one, like right out of the gate, we're gonna say that the original was better, but we have some talking points here.
Yes.
Some bullet points, if you will.
We will try to establish without a shadow of a doubt why the original Mummy movie is better than the remake.
Yeah.
In case anybody is like, what are you talking about? The Mummy with Tom Cruise was off the
It's
hook.
my favorite movie.
I mean, it's fine. It's obviously it's fine if you like that movie better.
You're just wrong.
But we're going to try and convince you otherwise. You
In the-
can go ahead and try and convince us to see your point of view.
In the
That's
words of the critic, it stinks.
stinks. So, all right. So let's go ahead and move
John
forward
Lovitz.
with this
Yeah.
battle.
So today we're talking about the Mummy movies. Obviously, I have a huge heart for the 1999 Brendan Fraser Mummy movie. So to keep it short, that's just the better movie compared to the 2017 movie with Tom Cruise.
This is a massacre.
It's a massacre.
This is a plague. So we'll start off pretty simple. The
Okay.
basis of the story.
The basis of
a
the story.
story in general.
Okay.
Are protagonist groups.
Protagonist groups.
Yeah.
Easy. Old Mummy. Boom. Listen. I wanted to give points to the new one just because Jake Johnson is funny, but I feel like they just straight up stole his like whole shtick from American Werewolf in London, right? Like, because I mean, it is like there's no way you can say no. I think that they straight up just stole the idea from American Werewolf in London, and I just feel like as far as development of characters go, like they just didn't bother.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's got the same shtick the whole time, even when he's like dead. Right? He's still like cracking wise, and you're like, you're dead, man. Like,
how are you doing this?
Yeah, but like, and it's one of those weird situations where like they have like weird conversations right at the beginning with him and Tom Cruise, a younger man. To do you know what I'm referencing?
No.
There's a scene in the movie. Did you guys not rewatch it?
Yeah.
Okay, so where he's talking to Dr. Jekyll, and he tells him like, you're a younger man. I'm like, bro is not only is he 2 years older than Russell Crowe, right? I understand that Jekyll is like probably hundreds of years old or something at this point. Like he's Victorian England, so whatever how old that is. But Tom Cruise, like his character's so bland, right? And they can't make their mind up. Like, is he this like cutthroat who goes in and gets treasure and sells it on the black market, or is he the guy who like stops the van and waits for the girl to get in because he's not going to leave anybody behind, right? But they have a weird conversation between him and what's his face where they tell each other, this is what we do, right? Whereas
all of their dialogue is terrible.
Yeah, but in the Fraser mummy, right? Fraser, his first scene, right? They're standing in the line, right? They're getting the lead officer like takes off running, and Benny tells him like, looks like you got promoted, and even though Benny takes off running, he still like holds the line.
Yeah.
Right? He made
you
it clear.
You don't even know at that point what they're doing. You just get a heroic moment.
You're
like, okay, I get this guy.
And they establish later on like he didn't even want to be there. But knowing that makes it even more telling of his character that he's not willing to back off, right? Like he's gonna face whatever comes at him, and you see it over and over again in the movie. Like the first time the mummy shows up, he yells at him, right? And then it happens later on when like the other mummy's there and like it yells at him, or a couple of them do, and then he just like he actually
he's like, all right, now.
he yells at them, they yell at him, and then he takes off running, right? But you see that aspect of his character over and over again. Tom Cruise character all over the place.
This definitely wasn't a good Tom Cruise role. I think it would have been a better role for someone like John Krasinski or someone like that can be funny and be serious. So that's my thoughts on that.
And super bland to boot, right? And
cannot tell you a single personality trait.
Absolutely, you can't. Like, and although Jake Johnson's character had plenty of personality, it was wasted.
Yeah.
Right.
You could. I don't even want to say he had personality because it was like one shtick.
Yeah, you're like, right. I'll concede that.
He had a thing that he does. He doesn't have a personality. He has like a voice, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, absolutely not.
And then when we talk about the female lead, right? You could
the
exact same thing you say about Tom Cruise, like multiply that by like 100 for the female lead in that movie. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Whereas Rachel Weisz, like she has character, she has her
probably the best character in the movie.
She has there's a reason for her to be there in every single situation. Like she is driving the movie forward. Like the other one, the lead in the newer one. Like
couldn't tell you.
Yeah, even in the scene later on where she's like apologizing for not telling him that this like organization exists, you're like, why? Like you guys had like 15 seconds together by your own admission in a hotel room once, and then whatever time you spent underground, and then it's when Tom Cruise like,
all sad,
parachuted,
yeah, she dies, and it's like, oh no. Like I didn't even register that she died at first. There was no emotional impact. It's like, oh,
she died.
Yeah. You don't remember? She was like laying on that water area, like towards the end when he's fighting the mummy, and he like becomes.
Yeah. But she didn't. She was brought back to life. She didn't stay dead.
She didn't stay dead. Yeah, but she was dead.
Yeah. Which yes, was not that clear for me.
Yeah, that's because this movie is so muddy.
We'll get to that in a little because I want to talk specifically about like directing and music later.
I'm gonna say a couple of little things on the intro of the characters, which builds on what you were saying.
Okay,
like specific points of the movie. So you said the Brendan Fraser intro, great intro. Like it showed that he's the hero of the movie. And then when Rachel Weisz is introduced, it shows her as like the quirky librarian girl. And when she does the whole ladder thing, right? Like where she's like balancing on the ladder and then knocks everything over. it also helps to establish the movie itself as it's not that serious.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun movie.
It's an adventure movie.
Which you get with Brendan Fraser, right? Like it starts it off with that, and then it goes right into Rachel Weisz, and it goes, but it's gonna be fun too.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have both those things,
Yeah.
and then the brother comes in talking about his like gambling or stealing stuff. Like now you go, oh, this guy's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like I see what he's about.
He's British.
Right. So he's not the evil British. Now he's the funny British.
Yeah.
So like it does such a good job of establishing what the movie is and who the characters are, as opposed to Tom Cruise, Jake Johnson. They're like, are they friends? Are they not friends? Because they're mad
They
at each
really
other.
sound like they hate each other half the time.
Yeah, and then when the girl comes in and she's like, I don't even want to talk to you. And he's like, come on, but let's talk. And she's like, I don't want nothing to do with you. So you're like, who do I like right now?
Oh, yeah. And the decisions, like, because they admittedly, like, are disobeying orders, but they're clearly in the military. But then when they're like, she needs to go down in the hole, he's like, you two are going with her. But you just said you don't trust these guys.
Right.
Right? Because they steal stuff, and you're going to send them into a thing where there's stuff that they can steal.
Yes.
Yeah.
With one girl, like, there's no guards or nothing.
And it's trying to... It never told us if this was going to be a fun movie or if it was going to be a horror movie.
Because it's got weird banter where you're like, okay, this is going to be silly, right?
Right.
No.
Like having Jake Johnson in there, I think automatically if you see him, you're like, oh, witty banter.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. But then he wasn't really like that the whole time. And then you see Tom Cruise, you're like, oh, drama. Like he's the drama guy. Okay. But then he wasn't really like that either.
Yeah.
He was trying to be this weird funny.
Like when you hear a lot people talking about like, oh, this feels like a Marvel movie in like a derogatory way. This is that.
Yeah.
This is like the worst of every Marvel thing.
It's like
random
they
jokes
were,
for no reason,
and not just the random
a
jokes.
weird balance of tone.
They also were like all of the modern blockbuster things that like that you can jam in a movie to tell people it's a blockbuster movie. We're gonna do all of those things.
Yeah.
Right. And you just at some point you're like I understand that this guy is like an adventurer / like thief or whatever it is, a treasure hunter or whatever.
You still don't get a really good idea of what he does. Like, what is his life outside of this movie? I don't know.
Yeah.
And how are you in the military and you're like a thief?
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, and so like a whole lot of times it feels like because movie, right? Like, why does this thing happen? Because movie. We need to progress the story, and this felt like the best way to do it. Because it felt like to me...
because that'll be cool if we do that.
Well, so it felt like to me is they were like, all right, we want to do the Mummy. And then someone else was like, no, we want to do a dark universe. And they were like, all right, so let's do dark universe and also kind of the Mummy, right?
Yeah.
Because then even that, by the end of the movie, is he a mummy? Like, because he's supposed to be, like, he has the powers of this god. So is he a god? Like, is the god in control? Is he in control? Like,
we don't,
because he's riding off and the sand is going. So like, he has the powers of the mummy.
You talking about Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
I thought he was like the Wolfman or something.
Right? I don't know.
Because that's what I thought. I was like, oh, so he's going to be the Wolfman in the monster universe.
Well, and not only that, because like, so he does the pupil thing, right? So he's like, oh, and like yells and like wakes her up, right? So is he going to be a classic case of there's a monster inside of me that I got to keep restrained? Because I thought that's what Jekyll was going to be.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought that was Wolfman was going to be. Or, I thought that was what we're going to have to deal with Frankenstein's monster, right? Like,
or
but
the
also
Invisible Man or whatever you're going to do.
Yeah. So like, but then also, if he has the same powers that the mummy had, right? She's controlling birds and rats and bugs and sand and making zombies. Like, if he has all these powers, why do you need anybody else?
Yeah.
Because basically he's like dark Superman, right? And at that point, like, why do you need Jekyll? Why do you need any of those other characters if he can do every single thing they can do, but better?
Thing you can do.
Well, I mean, that's why this whole dark universe thing didn't work.
But I think it was a cool idea for them to do an extended dark universe that intertwines. Missed opportunity. I really feel like this shouldn't have been the kickoff movie for that.
I actually, when I heard about it, I was like, that sounds pretty cool. Like that could be fun.
They did it already.
They did do it.
Universal did it back in the day. They had crossovers
and
all the time.
And it was good, right? Like it was a fun little time
until it got out of hand.
Yeah.
But I think it would have been good to see it again, like with the modern technology.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. So it would have been fun to see it again now.
At this point, I'd rather watch a Scooby-Doo movie.
Yeah.
I mean, like, maybe it's just like me now. Like, I don't know if I was this age and it was 2017, how I would feel.
Yeah.
But like,
but also if the
we
movie
got the
was
Marvel Cinematic Universe and like DC's doing stuff. I don't need everything to be a cinematic universe.
No.
I'm fine with a standalone movie, or like if you want to do a trilogy or something, that's cool. Like I like Dune. I'm not the biggest fan that they're doing a show, because
they gotta have their spin-offs and stuff.
Yeah, especially because it's based off of one of the Son's books, which are notoriously not good.
Oh right.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm probably just I'll try it, but that's a side note.
Yeah.
But like, I don't need it all to be a cinematic universe. You know, I'm one of the reasons I really liked Lisa Frankenstein was it was just its own movie.
But it's not.
I mean,
well, and when you look at the Marvel movies, aside from like the Endgame and Infinity War, like when I'm like my favorite Marvel movies, they're the ones that just stand on their own 2 feet. Winter Soldier, incredible movie, stands on its own feet. Right, you don't need all the extra build up to everything else. Like you don't need all the extra connective tissue, because you just have a really great story.
Yeah.
The first Ant-Man movie is so fun. It's a heist movie, and it works because it's just a heist movie, right? And then later on we add in, here's all this other stuff, right? Like, and it feels like they wanted to jump to the end game, but not build the foundation of, we got a good movie here, right?
Same as like DC tries to do.
Yeah, which they try to do over and over again, and you're just like you got to put in the legwork. You can't just be like, all right, here's a Batman movie, and also Wonder Woman and Cyborg and Flash, right? Like,
right.
Even Godzilla got it right. How are you gonna do worse than Godzilla, guys? Seriously, come on.
Yeah.
I do want to say, just while we're on the note of like the interconnectivity stuff, I don't want to dwell on that too long, as hard as that it's going to be.
Because there's a category at the end for it.
Yeah, which I mean, we're basically just doing that now. I have written down here, obligatory dark universe trashing.
We might be done with that.
Yeah, no, not quite. I like Russell Crowe as Dr. Jekyll. I think he's a really good Jekyll and Hyde, and I wish his movie got made.
Right.
It's unfortunate this movie was terrible and he was in this at all. But
he'll be another character that we'll put in the tournament.
Exactly. I really like Jekyll and Hyde though, just as a story, as a concept.
The book is very good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna reread it later this year for Halloween.
Last episode, when we mentioned we were gonna do this battle, Hayden said that the new one has some redeeming qualities.
He did.
I'm going to assume he's talking about Russell Crowe.
I hope he was talking about Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to note that. I don't want to throw him in with the rest of the garbage of the Dark Universe. I like him as Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, the problem I have though is because they try to use him as
like a Nick Fury.
Well, I don't have a problem with that. But the problem is because there was so much exposition in this. Yeah. And he gives it to us at the beginning, and he gives it to us in the middle, and then the mummy gives it to us at some point, and we have these flashbacks over and over again to the same thing over and over again, but we don't need it all. That's why I really appreciate in the Fraser movie, you get the flashback right at the beginning. Yeah. We've established, we know, it's out of the way. We know all the players that are probably going to show up. We already know who's going to be the mummy. Then we establish our new characters, and then we roll into the adventure, right? And I don't know. It's just the way that they fumbled it so poorly is just, and I want to say there could be a lot of things that contributed to this. For sure, writing, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure the guy that wrote this also wrote some other garbage.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, a lot of it was
couple
also
Transformer
probably studio
movies,
stuff, they're the ones who
they're
wanted to do Dark
pressuring for it.
Universe.
Yeah. But then you don't go be like, hey, you did those 2 Transformer movies that were awful, right? Like,
Yeah.
come write this thing for you. Like, you know,
Right.
you,
That's one of the problems.
what they need to do is what DC's doing now and be like we need to find our James Gunn, right? Someone who's passionate about the characters and the universe.
And I feel like you can get someone like that for monster movies. Like,
Absolutely.
There's a lot of people that are genuinely really love all those old monster movies and would like to do something cool with those.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying that the Dark Universe idea I think would have been cool.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't have had a problem if they did it, but
What's his face? Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, yeah. That
He
would
was.
Yeah.
They approached him. He was supposed to direct their Creature of the Black Lagoon, which was supposed to be part of this. Which after The Mummy failed, he left that. But he was so like enamored with that idea that he did The Shape of Water. which
Yeah, I would
he
say,
won
didn't
awards
he
for.
do Shape of Water?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's proof that the
concept works.
People,
Right.
Yeah.
want to do stuff with these kinds of monsters, and
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the concept.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, moving on. You want
Okay.
to talk about the next thing?
yeah.
Let's talk about the Mummy itself,
Okay.
because both of them
It
have
stinks.
literally
Yeah, so we've got
Imhotep,
Emotep
Emotep.
versus
What's her name?
the Mummy.
Amulet?
Um,
Amulet? Something like that? Or was that also Emotep's
Amulet?
wife? Or
no, because that was
girlfriend or whatever?
Anaxunamun.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it was like Amulet or something like
Amanet,
that.
I think. Or
Something like that.
Yeah, I really like that because like Emotep's powers were really well defined because they were like biblical plagues.
Yeah,
Right.
He can do these things.
Yeah, he can do these things. Like the new one, just it was everywhere, like all over the place. Don't know, like
How is she doing visions?
Amanet.
Amanet. Well, so yeah, that's the thing. She's doing visions. She also like has like when she's fighting Tom Cruise, like knocking him across the room, and then later on when he like gets powers and he like rushes up and like grabs her and like he's pressed her against the wall, right? He's gonna like suck the life out of her. She just slaps him. Like, come on, you could do so much better than that. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely for me. I mean, that
I'd want to trash on that last act.
Go for
no,
it.
specifically that climax. It's such a garbage truck. That's bad. I hate that last like 20 minutes, 15 minutes.
Remind
It
me.
is the worst. I watched Madam Web this year, and it is the worst ending I have seen this year. Still, the Mummy
funny.
is worse. Has a worse ending than Madam Web.
Yeah,
Like-
that's pretty bad.
The dialogue at the end.
Well,
of,
so it was-
hey, he says the words. It's so great that you brought me back to life and all, but what are we gonna do now?
Because they're bad storytellers. That's what we're trying to establish here.
Like that sounds like
That's what I was trying
one
to
of
talk about
those
when
fake movie plot.
their
that you
character
see.
introduction, like they're telling and not showing.
Yeah.
We've had this conversation, right? Books.
Yeah.
In books, it's a big deal, right? You show, don't tell. Like Brendan Fraser's introduction, they were showing. Rachel Weisz's introduction, showing, right? Like the hard part also, like, because there were weird nods to stuff too. Right? Like, because I want to be like, does this Mummy movie take place in the same universe as the Fraser one? Because the book with the key,
Yeah,
that was in this one,
yeah.
right? But also, she did the face
Uh-huh.
thing in the dirt that Emotep did, right? So I'm like, I see the nod, but it's not good.
yeah.
It's like they watched the original, right?
They're like,
We're
we
not-
can do this better.
Yeah, but no, you cannot. You should distance yourself as much as you can from that original, because then at least you have some semblance of dignity.
Yeah, and we've talked about that kind of stuff before, where like the fan service is just not done right. Like Planet of the Apes was a good example with the Tim Burton one,
Yeah,
because they did a lot of nods to the original in the
They
Tim
did.
Burton one,
but it's
it
a
was
very obvious misunderstanding of the original one.
yeah. And then when they did the new ones, they did a lot of the same nods, where like, this is a madhouse. Like
Yeah.
they did that same
Let go of
thing.
my hand.
Yeah,
But then they add on to that.
But
They
those
do
worked.
the no, which is arguably now as iconic, like
Yes.
because of that scene.
right. Yeah, fan service done wrong, and like Infinity War Endgame, that was also fan service done right.
Yeah,
It just felt like there was just no soul in the character or just the movie in general, right? Like,
Yeah.
because we talked about like the Frasier one. You knew it was gonna be silly. It's fun, right? It's silly. It has some moments that are semi-serious, right? This one just
It's
like
slop.
there's no heart to it, like
Yeah.
because the characters are so bland. You're not rooting for them. Like
I feel like I wasted my time after watching that movie.
That's a shame after watching a movie.
Yeah.
yeah, nobody wants to waste almost 2 hours of their life and then be like, I wish I had that back.
Right.
Yeah. I could have done so much more.
For sure.
You ever watch The Penguin?
Could have watched the Penguin.
Penguin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm sorry, why he stabbed himself? Like that's what we were trying to avoid the whole time, and he just do it.
Well, that's how he
Supposed
was
to be-
able to.
It's supposed to be the big twist.
That's
what
why I
we
like
want.
That's
the whole
how he
time.
gets the powers.
because
right?
I like that's how I guess. But I'm like at this point, like we should have just let Jekyll do whatever he wanted because he was like, yeah, well, I want to stab you with it.
Sure.
right.
Yeah.
But character arc with quotations.
Well, because they had to have a scene where he turns into Jekyll,
Or the
Hyde.
Yeah.
and then fights. So they had to have that, right? Because story,
Yeah.
Because
you know,
story.
and because cool, we get to see him turn into another character and fight.
Well, because we got to see the lagoon creature's hand, and we got to see the
vampire skull.
vampire skull. Like
Right.
I almost want to respect how like far in they went with the connection stuff. Like whole middle of the movie is just straight up.
not just the
monster
middle of the movie,
shield.
dude. The framework for the movie, the first scene is the organization.
Yeah.
Right? And like here's the deal. They catch her in the woods with those like harpoon spear things. Like why do we need Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
He could have left at that point in the movie and we'd never seen him again, and I think the outcome would have been the same.
Yeah.
Right? Like cuz why she choose him?
Yeah, because he just showed up. I guess.
Yeah, because main
'Cause-
character.
You're the first
Yeah,
man I
'cause he-
saw when I woke up.
Yeah, because he's Tom Cruise.
He's got that main character energy.
Who
yeah.
doesn't choose
Yeah.
Tom Cruise?
And
She
he
got
was,
hit by that Harry Potter love potion. That just first person you see, immediate infatuation.
yeah. And I wonder like cuz we mentioned like that Dwayne the Rock Johnson has that clause in his
Yeah,
contract where
he
he can't lose on screen, right?
Uh-huh.
Like does Tom Cruise have a clause where he's got to be running
definitely has that one.
Somewhere.
He's gotta
From
Yeah.
from a giant dust
Run
storm.
or like
giant
jump,
yeah.
jump from something.
Yeah, he's going to do his own stunts. We're like, well, yeah, but this is a mummy movie. Like, it's going to be in the desert. There's not going to be a whole lot of stunts. Well, then put him in a plane. And instead of filming in the desert, let's
How
put it
did
in
they
England.
get to the desert though?
Right?
Yeah.
There you
And that
go.
was the deal for me, too. Like, clearly they wanted to set themselves apart, right? So, like, England.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about how bad the mummy, specifically like the
2017.
actual mummy monster, is in 2017. I think it's time that we kind of switch over. He was talking about also, and because we need the contrast. We need to see what the good movie is.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to remember sometimes when you keep watching bad movies. Like, oh, good ones exist too.
Right.
And then you see them and you're like, oh wow.
And we'll end on a good note,
Yeah.
right? Everyone's happy.
Yeah. So
Yeah, we don't just bash stuff. We actually love things.
Yeah. I had never watched the original Mummy before this.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
this is my first experience. I did know one thing about it, which I want to talk to you about specifically. We'll get to that in a second, though.
Okay.
So I really liked it. It was a really good movie. It was a fun adventure movie.
Mm-hmm.
I like Imhotep a lot.
Yeah,
just
Imhotep
as
is
a
great.
villain.
That's why they bring him back for part 2.
Yeah.
And why the third one suffers.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Having him not speak English
Yeah.
was such a good choice
Yeah,
too.
it keeps that balance of a monster kind of character that is unknowable and just evil and malicious and just wants to kill people.
And it gives you a
but
great
also
reason.
humanizes him.
It also gives you a
without
great reason to
sacrifice.
have Benny around, like as
Yeah.
he's going through his different.
Oh, his religions.
Yeah.
With his chains.
So okay, that's
Yeah.
what I want to talk about. Do you
Uh-huh.
know about like the thing that I'm going to bring up with that?
I don't think I did.
So related to Sanderson, in the Mistborn trilogy, for people who haven't read it, there's a character named Sazed.
yeah, so
That scene was the main
the
inspiration.
inspiration for
him.
that's
For
fun.
like a character that just keeps all of these religions. That was
Sazed has the ability to store his memories in these bracers that he wears, right? And so he has like as a holy man, he has learned every religion that this planet has produced and keeps the memories there. And it actually ends up being really important because this world is basically doomed for destruction, and the knowledge that he unknowingly has that came through these religions end up saving saving the world. And so it's really funny that would be the
This
inspiration.
one-off joke in the Mummy movie is the inspiration.
But
for it.
it's great
You never
because
know when inspiration is right.
it influences the whole rest of it, because he's like, oh, the language, the language of the slaves.
Yeah.
And then so you're like, okay, boom, so we can tie this to biblical knowledge.
Yeah.
And then when he
they
starts
bring
using
in
his
the
powers,
plagues, and it's
he's just straight up doing plagues, and that makes sense for a mummy to have, right? Especially spitting out of Egypt. I mean, kind of, because realistically, like, who did those plagues? God did, and God was not Egyptian, but now the Egyptian mummies have power, sorry, whatever. Yeah. Not trying to get theological on it here.
Yeah. But it's the idea of it that's really
It's
cool.
the idea. Yeah, it works, and it was fun as can be.
Yeah.
And I do like that. Even the characters, they like when the locusts came out, they're like, where do they come from?
Yeah,
because
Plague.
Yeah,
It's plague.
it helps to set that, like, they're just there.
Yeah.
But it's making the characters are also in on that, like, they just showed up. Yeah. So like it helps you to buy into that.
And I love like one of the things that I really appreciate about this movie is it went like old school with some of the music and references. Like the music tells you like there's love building here, right?
Yeah.
Like, but also they made like, because several times like a wind or something like blows and like, especially when they say something ominous, right? And then the third time, I think it's Fraser's character goes, "Yeah, that happens here a lot."
Right?
They notice it.
Yeah. So like they know this is a silly thing.
Yeah.
And they they make fun of it in the movie. Like, how can you dislike it when they're knowingly poking fun at the thing that they've used like in these ominous settings multiple times, right? And like,
but it works in the story too, because it's
Absolutely.
like they're not understanding that they're doing something ominous. They're just like, oh yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, that's all part of this good storytelling that this movie has.
It has a perfect balance between its tones.
Right. And aside from like the three main characters and the mummy, all the supporting cast, I think, were all good characters.
Yeah.
And the first time I saw the mummy was probably close to when it came out, if not when it came out in what did I say, 99? So there was some parts I didn't remember. Like, I didn't remember that the other characters were in it as much, like the other treasure hunters.
the
Americans.
Americans.
Yeah. I didn't remember them being in it as much as they were.
Yeah, you got different eyes now to see with.
Yeah. And
I mean, someone got different eyes.
and they,
Oh yeah.
but they were really good characters too. They weren't just there
Oh yeah.
just to like fill out the cast.
They were unique and different, and like they
brought their own thing to
they
the
added to
movie.
the story, and which is why it's so hard to compare to the new one, because like
When even the
don't have
main
that.
characters
it
aren't
feels so
contributing to
empty
the
and hollow,
story.
right? Because
Yeah.
who do you really have? You got the lady, the main lead, Tom Cruise, Jake Johnson, Russell Crowe, and then the mummy. You really have nobody else beyond that of note, unless they're showing up and dying.
Yeah.
Right, but this you've got like the
ton
plane
of them.
pilot Wilson, I think his name was. Like,
Yeah.
you get enough, you know enough about him in his first appearance that his death is fitting.
Yeah.
Right.
He's only in like 3 scenes.
The prison guy who lets Fraser out makes his death fitting. Right.
25.
Well, because he even before they go in, he's like, I hate bugs. Right. Like,
Yeah.
and then how does his death make sense? Like, they do a great job of establishing everybody. Even the surrounding characters. The only one I have a problem with is Fez guy, right? Where they're like, "Come on, get in," and he just keeps like swinging. Like, that was an unnecessary sacrifice, my friend. Right? Like, you had a very large gap between you and.
I know what you're talking about. It's Eric Avari, who has been in a lot of movies.
Lot of
too,
movies.
Yeah.
and he's always really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Because he's done serious roles, he's done funny roles.
Yeah.
He's
He's
done
been in some
this.
Sandler movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's done a bunch of Sandler stuff. So that was like, you didn't need to do that.
Yeah, all
You
the rest of
could have
them, I'm
stayed with
like,
everybody else.
yeah, everything else makes sense. It was kind of messed up, right? Because there's like one American left, and they like turn that corner, he flies out. I'm like, go back for him. If you know that once the Imhotep can't like complete his march towards immortality with this guy,
transformation.
like get him, right?
No,
but
they're
they're
just going to keep running.
yeah, we're gonna go jump in the sewers,
Well,
bro.
there was one part where Brendan Fraser was going to turn back, and then he realized I can't do anything, and he was like, and he turned around and kept running. I don't remember who it was that was left behind, but it was somebody, and he tried to turn back, which I liked that little.
It's those little things that really make this movie special. Like one of my favorite things was where at the end of the movie, Mummy's dead, thing is collapsing. Jonathan is running with the Book of the Dead, trips and drops it, and like his sister comes back. She's like, "The book? You dropped the book?" And then Fraser's like, "Let's go!" And then like a scene later, they're in the treasure room, and Jonathan's like, "All this treasure!" And they're like, "Let's go!" They have to grab him and take him. Right. Like you get to see their character still shining through.
Yeah.
And it's those little things that really give character to this movie in a way that the new one was just lacking.
Oh yeah. And what's his name? Oded Fair, who played the main guard of the Mummy.
Oh, the what do they call him? They had a specific name because they mentioned it over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah. The name of his character was Ardeth Bay. Yeah. But I thought he was really good too.
Yeah, he was really good.
I mean, just all these little side.
I'm like, dude, how in the desert is your hair looking so good?
He was looking fly,
right?
Hey, wait, no. Before I forget, you said there
the
were
Magi.
There weren't. Yeah, yeah. You said there are no side characters in the 2017 Mummy, but Jafar is in it.
Jafar is in it
for like 2 minutes.
Is he one of the inspectors?
He's one of the guards.
Oh,
like
guard,
in the
gotcha.
Jekyll Institute or whatever they call it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think he's got 2 lines, something like that.
A line and a half.
Because they also have like a couple of inspectors, right? Like they introduce and you're like, why are they introducing these guys? They're both dead.
Yeah.
And indeed they are.
We didn't even really talk about Benny.
I'm glad Benny was wonderful.
Yeah. He's such a great
Kevin O'Connor.
He is the perfect slimy servant character.
You're like, this dude would sell his own mother.
They perfected that archetype.
But you still like him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love the running joke of he appears and then just runs.
Not just like him.
Not in full frame either. But
like at the end when the thing is collapsing, like you I was talking about the little things that show you the characters. Like Fraser's still trying to rescue him.
Yeah.
Like, he's betrayed them multiple times.
Yeah.
And Fraser's character still like at least reaches for him.
It's just so telling after an entire movie of throwing him overboard.
Yeah.
He hates him, but he doesn't want him to die.
Right.
Like he's still
not
gonna
like
save,
that.
Yeah, he's still gonna save him.
Yeah. Yeah. His death was rough. It was well deserved, but it was rough.
Yeah.
Because you still like
me.
him. Like he was still a fun character that, and seeing like Brendan Fraser still trying to help him. And then you see what happens. It's like, oh man, that's messed up.
Yeah, he's not coming back in part 2.
No.
Legit. This movie like made me terrified of scarabs. Right? I had to like look it up. Like, no, they don't eat people. They're not dangerous to humans. But man, this movie, it
does a really good job of making them scary.
Yeah, like where did that come from? Whose idea was that?
Yeah. I will say though, the new one was, if the live action Aladdin took place in wherever they did the new Mummy, that would have been a good looking Agrabah.
It's funny because the desert scenes I feel like are the best set pieces because like once you leave the desert, everything's so bland.
Yeah,
it's just gray.
Yeah,
gray.
Oh
city.
yeah, it does have this, but like
the stupid climax just takes place in a random sewer.
He's right.
Why?
He's not wrong.
Why is it there? There's no significance
because
to a random
cheap
sewer.
to film in England.
We're off of the bad. We're onto the good.
He's right. Stop bringing us back there.
Is where we are.
Yeah. Stop bringing us back there.
You want to mention the music real fast though?
Yeah, Jerry Goldsmith is great. Brian Tyler, he did the new one, right? I'm sorry, it was not a good score.
Yeah.
I know I put you on the list for composer battles.
Not redeeming here.
We just ignored the Mummy for that. It's
yeah. I agree, and I don't think this was even Jerry Goldsmith's best score.
No, not at all. I mean, he has like Alien and stuff,
but it was still good. There was still
it still elevates.
Yeah.
It's
got that adventure feel
where it needed to be, whatever feel needed to be in that scene. It was there.
Yeah.
So it still worked really well. But yeah, not his best score, but it worked with the movie.
Yeah,
and
it's still not a bad score.
No, not
which
bad.
I think the 2017 one is.
I'd have to listen to that one by itself and see.
It's just so nothing.
Like it's like
like the rest of the movie.
Fits with the rest of the movie.
Yeah, like I guess in that way it's a good score, really. Yeah, I mean, like I noticed while watching the movie, like, okay, there is a theme technically, but I could not tell you anything about it. It just sounded like generic. Like if I asked an AI to write a theme that is for a dark, suspenseful action movie, I feel like
it would be that.
Yeah,
I could see that, and it's rough when the movie is not giving you anything to work with. You know,
there's not a whole lot the composer can do, because their job is to look at the emotional beats.
Yeah, you need it to match the movie.
Right.
So obviously, like, it's not a diss against him. He's still a great composer.
Yeah.
Because he got it to match. Like,
but he's got nothing to work with.
Yeah, there's nothing there. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you can pass on 2017, but 1999 with Fraser, definitely a watch. Right?
Yeah, classic.
Go back and watch it. It's a fun movie.
Absolutely.
Just in time for Halloween now. Coming up on
PG-13 for the violence, I guess.
Violence.
And
there's lots of gun violence.
Yeah, not a whole lot of blood and that kind of, not a lot of gore or anything, but it was just a lot of
there
fighting.
Are some jump scares.
Yeah. And the jump scares, I guess, for intense scenes.
Because like my daughter, she wouldn't be able to handle the mummies. But if you got kids that aren't squeamish, like because the mummies, like it has its moments, but it's not really, really scary.
No, it's not, because we had
it's a fun adventure
watch
movie
with us.
Yeah. And she, the one who's terrified of zombies.
Yeah,
like,
she watched and
she
that
wasn't bad at all.
Yeah, she said like they don't even look scary because it's 1999. You know,
she's afraid
CGI.
of like the rotting corpse kind of looking things. This is not that.
So not that bad as far as, you know, the PG-13 rating.
And you know, honestly, the CGI, it still holds together for what it is.
I think because they did a lot of practical effects.
Absolutely.
So that helped. So definitely recommend The Mummy with Brendan Fraser over the Tom Cruise version.
Absolutely.
That wins 100%.
Yeah. Just don't watch the Tom Cruise version. There's no reason to.
I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. That's fandom for you. Gotta get it.
Cue the outro music.
Yeah, catch us on our socials before we leave. The Room Upstairs Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Like, subscribe, and let us know your thoughts. Thank you guys for watching.
We'll be back.
Oh!
Jinx, Yomiko.
Yeah. We're gonna try to do some more monster movies, hopefully.
Yeah.
Do another remake
for the month of
original.
October.
Yeah, because October, Halloween. That's fun.
Yeah.
So we'll get back to you soon.
All right. Yeah. Well, we'll see you guys next time. Stay up to date with us. That way you know what movies we're gonna battle. Let us know about the composers.
Sonya Blade.
And
that's fandom for you.
Nah, I'm just gonna wing it.